Oh my God. Okay. Is this? Yeah, I guess I'm talking. I guess this is what this looks like. Hi. There's nobody here. I guess I should post a tweet and do that real quick. Oh, this is riveting content. Okay. And post my own personal channel. That seems like a smart thing to do. Bear with me. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So, yeah. All right. Anyway, hi, he said to himself from his apartment. I'm Dave Hellman. I promised that I would get this up and running before I went. Okay, good. There's people in the chat. Can y'all hear me? Don't mind me just being super self-conscious about whether or not this is working. But yeah, so this is my YouTube channel. Felt like a smart thing to do would be to get this thing up and running before training camp starts. So hi, Dave. All right, okay, beautiful. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah, so in case you didn't hear, I know you did, but I have made the transition to Fox Sports. Um, that kind of means I've got like a lot more leeway to do my own thing these days. Obviously not currently appearing on the break, not currently on a regular podcast, so I figure I can use YouTube to supplant that, I guess. Say hi to Josie. That's my dog Josie. He is super upset with me as I am packing my bags for training camp right now. Um so yeah, my flight is in 21 hours. I think the Cowboys leave a little bit after that. They will be in Oxnard tomorrow afternoon. Opening press conference scheduled for Tuesday. And yeah, man, I don't think a training camp has ever snuck up on me the way that this one has. Maybe it's because of the job change. Like I've been very preoccupied with that for the last 2 months. Um, you know, figuring out new direct deposit and stuff like that. Not the most fun thing in the world. So I seriously can't believe we're here. And on top of that, this will be my first ever trip to training camp not as a Cowboy employee, which let me just tell you guys, being um, being a Cowboys employee is a lot of fun in the sense that a lot of stuff just gets taken care of for you. You don't have to book a flight; you just show up to the charter site and get on the plane. You don't have to um, figure out hotel accommodations because they just put you in a room with somebody, which is super nice. But so anyway, typically when you go to camp as a Cowboys employee, they send like 6 container trucks out to uh, out to Oxnard, and so like you just show up, you go to the facility like 3 weeks before camp with a duffel, just pack as much shit as you can throw in there, and they put it on the truck for you. Last year, I took like 3 suitcases. I brought my bike, which was phenomenal. So I'm definitely missing that aspect of it here as I pack my suitcase and try to make it all fit so that I don't have to pay baggage fees and stuff like that. It's fun to see some familiar faces. Kyle, what up, buddy? Randy, Landon, thank you, thank you. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna try my best to use this space to keep y'all up to date. You can read all my writing on foxsports.com. Get the Fox Sports app if you don't have it. It's really wonderful. We're going to be really cranking up our NFL content. I think, I'm one of the first big components of that, but like Fox is making a big push in the NFL content department. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hi, Carmen. Um, Yeah, so like the goal, and if you haven't heard Jeff talking about it for the last month, I think Jeff is going to be my roommate at camp, and I think the goal is just to make dope content like every day we're out there. So yeah, this is the beginning of that. So I don't know if y'all want to chat Cowboys. I wrote down some questions that some people asked me. Do you want to hop right into that? Oh, I did see somebody asked me. I love talking about myself, so why not? Nicholas asked me, "What are your first tasks when you arrive to camp?" That's kind of going back to what I was talking about. That's the funny thing is I'm coming at it from a whole new angle. Like again, as a Cowboys employee, you land and hop on a bus and go to Oxnard and find your suitcase, and like the room is already provided and paid for and all that good stuff, and it's very straightforward. So tomorrow, well, first of all, I got to find a way to Oxnard from LAX. I haven't decided if I'm gonna like Uber or maybe somebody wants to give me a ride. That would be very very fun. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna get to LA around like 11, 12 o'clock. Make my way to Oxnard in a hopefully quick and efficient fashion, and then find my hotel, which will actually be in Ventura this year. So Ventura, California is, I don't know, 12 minutes down the highway from Oxnard. So, no offense to anybody from Oxnard, but there ain't a whole hell of a lot going on there. It's basically a couple shopping centers, a Target, and a Whole Foods, a putt putt course, and the hotel where the Cowboys practice. Other than that, it's all like farmland and subdivisions. Um, so yeah, so everything interesting kind of happens in Ventura. So that's where like all the restaurants and the bars are, all that type of stuff. Am I going to go on with Skip and Shannon and tell them to stop lying about the Cowboys? I wouldn't be surprised if I wind up on Fox. My advice to all of y'all would just be to understand that it's the entertainment business. Yeah, I think we understand that by this point, but it would be fun to argue with those guys. Um, I feel weird, like, I feel weird answering questions that I've written down, so I'm just gonna go to the chat because that's more fun. Hi, Kelsey. Oh, my friends are here supporting me, which makes me I can't decide if that makes me feel more or less awkward about talking into my laptop alone. It's real. I was telling somebody this the other day, like, I've been podcasting every day for the Cowboys for a decade, and that feels incredibly natural because you have this whole team of people. Shout out Chris Beam, shout out William Boykins. You have a whole team of people that do everything for you, and all you have to do is put the headset on and talk. Doing all of this myself feels very unnatural. So I really appreciate y'all working with me as I overcome my second hand or first hand embarrassment while I figure this out. Okay. How good can Sam Williams be in his first year? Wonderful question. Um, I have, I mean, obviously, I have no freaking idea, but I'm always wary about pass rushers. Like, unless you're a Miles Garrett type of talent, I think the deck is stacked against pass rushers. I just think the the things that are asked of you, getting stronger to play against the run, figuring out how to beat NFL offensive tackles. Um, I just don't think it's fair to expect a whole lot. It's totally possible. Not to bring up our favorite guy, T.J. Watt. I think he had 8 sacks as a rookie. So I mean, it's definitely possible for guys drafted outside the top 10 to do it. I just don't think it's very fair to place a ton of expectation on it. You know, if Sam Williams can get to 5 sacks, and I will say I think it's very fortunate for him, the situation he's stepping into. First of all, Dan Quinn, we've seen what Dan Quinn can do to maximize a guy's abilities. He's going to know how to use him. I think you'll probably see if, and this is just me guessing, but like I would use Sam Williams as a situational pass rusher, third downs, obvious passing situations, find the weak spot on the line, find the matchup that's favorable for him. Don't ask him to go against the Lane Johnsons of the world as a rookie. Um, yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so all that's going to work in his favor. He's got Micah Parsons, he's got Demarcus Lawrence, he's got Dante Fowler taking pressure off of him. But even all of that said, like 4 to 6 sacks from Sam Williams would be an amazing rookie year. Like that would be phenomenal to the point where like it seems almost unfair to ask for 6 sacks from him, but if that were possible, that would be huge. Um, will Tyler Smith start at left guard? We talked about this the other day on Brian and Bobby's podcast. I hope so. If he doesn't, that seems bad to me. You first round picks are supposed to start, and you need help on the offensive line. And they spent the whole spring saying what an upgrade, like how talented he was, and how he'd be ready to hit the ground running. So, um, if he doesn't start, that seems ungood to me. Um, Hell yeah, let's go Mariners. See how I ironically, not that anybody wants to hear me talk Mariners, but David, I'll say it to you, fellow M's fan. It's very rare when the Mariners are still relevant when I go to training camp, so it's going to be interesting seeing like how well I can balance paying attention to the Mariners with, working covering the Cowboys all day. So, hopefully it works out cuz in my experience the second half collapse is very real. We'll see. Hey Taylor, thanks for logging on. Oh, my YouTube link isn't working on Twitter. That's not good. Um, what else do we have here? This is riveting radio. Just scrolling through the chat. Um, yeah, it's amazing. It's hilarious. Like, during I like obviously I streamed a lot from home during COVID, and you would think that I could have like gotten my hands on all this equipment 2 years ago. Um, but I feel like having the safety net of working for a big company, I never got around to it. And then I was like, oh, if I'm going to launch my own YouTube channel and its success or failure is completely up to me, I should probably invest in it. So yeah, I got a dope little webcam during Prime days. I only paid like $30 for it. And yeah, I got myself a little headset like I used to have on DallasCowboys.com. Um, Haven't heard about Tyron Smith this offseason. Tyron Smith, as far as I'm aware, did not have surgery, and you're not the first person that I've heard express concern about that. I'm one of Tyron's biggest proponents. I think at this point, you just have to make peace with the idea that he's going to miss 3 to 6 games. I just until I see him not do that, that's what I'm going to assume. He's missed time every year since 2016, which that's more than a trend. Which is why I think it's so weird that they don't have a true swing tackle on this roster. Like, if Tyron misses time, let's assume Tyler Smith starts at left guard. Are you really going to pull him out of that situation to be your swing tackle? Is it fair to ask that of a rookie? I don't know. That's why I think it's weird that, even if it's like Ty and Seki, I know like people probably don't want to hear that. I thought Ty and Seki played pretty well in the spots where he was called on last year. I think he came in against Minnesota and it was like real rough for a series, but then he settled down and was fine. So I don't really get why that guy's not on the roster. I think asking rookies to handle a situation like that is questionable. Do I see them adding any free agents, Connor? Yes. I think that they will add a player or two that is not presently on the team at some point, whether that's because of an injury or whether that's because they're not thrilled by what they see. Do I think I don't know if it's going to break the internet. I don't know if it's going to be the guy that you want it to be, but I bet they will do something. Um, I Lyle Collins is my guy. For those of y'all asking about him, um, he doesn't play for the Cowboys anymore, so I'm not super hip on what his deal is. I'm sorry. I did see he was placed on PUP, but that could mean anything. I mean, training camp PUP, you can be taken off of it after a day. So I have no idea the severity of Lyle's situation. Hoping for the best for him, though. He needs to keep my guy Joey B off his butt. Hello, Dave from Ontario, Canada. Good luck with your new channel. Oh, that was just a nice comment from Paul. Thanks, Paul. Thought you had a question, but that's okay. Can I give a prediction over the first 5 games of the season? Hell yeah, let's get reckless. Why the hell not? What else are we gonna do? It's a boring ass Sunday in July. The beginning of the season looks hard as hell. Um, they'll beat the Giants on Monday Night Football Week 3. That is the only game in the first 5 weeks that I'm 100% confident about. I'll go ahead and say they can beat the Commanders at home too, just because they own the Commanders. I think Washington has beaten Dallas like twice in the entire decade that I've covered the team. It just hasn't happened very many times. Like 2018, the BS penalty against LP Ladouceur that pushed them out of field goal range. And then in 2014, the game that Romo got hurt. I think those are the only 2 times Washington. Oh, they beat him in 2015 too, but like, who even cares about 2015? That was such an awful, awful season. Um, so that's 2 wins. Oh man, I see. I could see 2 and 3. I could see 2 and 3. They'll find a way to beat. They'll find a way to beat one of those 3 teams, right? Like Tampa, Cincy, and LA. Like they'll find a way to win one of those, right? Maybe, maybe. No, I'm not gonna play F Mary Kill with the Cowboys roster, Kelsey. No, not in stream one anyway. Maybe later. Yeah, but 2 and 3 feels like a super plausible thing to me. I hate to say it. Um, is there at least a 30% chance that Sam can get the second? Um, dude, I don't know. The edge rusher situation is wild because, like, okay, you assume Demarcus Tank is starting left end, and then I assume Dorrance and Fowler are going to rotate at right end, but also is Sam ready to play left end? I bet Dorrance plays. I bet Dorrance Armstrong plays probably more left end than we're giving him credit for right now, because he can hold up and do the dirty work that you want from a left end. Um, yeah. So I bet Dorrance and Tank do a lot of work at left, Fowler and Sam at right. Like I would guess those are your predominant 4. But they could keep as many as 6, I guess. Yeah. So that's fun. How we doing, guys? Chauncey, keep an eye on that. But like, my impression is that Chauncey is going to find himself playing more inside. He's bulked up. He's added like 20 pounds. I don't know if that means like 1 technique, 3 technique. Maybe he plays like a 5 technique sort of situation when they do more of a 3-4 look. Um, yeah, something like that. But I don't think of Chauncey as like a pure edge rusher right now. But you know, they'll be practicing in a couple of days, and we'll know for sure. Yeah, Carm. I broke out my suitcase about an hour and a half ago, and Josie's been in the tank ever since. Like he is very unhappy with me. Uh, yeah. So realistic goals for James Washington. Good, good question. I mean, he's a day 1 starter, provided he stays healthy. Um, so start there. I don't know what. Let's pull up James's. Let's pull up James's career numbers. I want to say his best season ever was like 75 catches. Oh, I'm not even close. His best season ever is 80 targets. His best season ever is 44 catches. So like, if he can flirt with 50 catches for like 600 to 800 yards, I'd be happy because I'm hoping you're hoping Michael Gallup comes back as quickly as possible, and B, you're hoping Jalen Tolbert is like ready to step up and contribute right away. So, I don't need like some crazy 1,000-yard season from James Washington, but if he can hit like 600 yards, anything from there is gravy. Um. Well, that's so. It's interesting, Rob. I mean, bottom line, James Washington did not have a wonderful time at the Steelers. Like his best season ever is 735 yards. He just never really developed into that guy. And a lot of a lot of receivers drafted after him wound up having much better careers. I mean, Michael Gallup was in the same draft class and was taken 21 spots after James Washington and is clearly having a much better career. Um, Now there are people in the Cowboys organization will tell you they think James Washington got a raw deal. He wound up in the doghouse and couldn't really get out of it. I think maybe part of that was the quarterback. You know, when you have a firmly established like Hall of Fame caliber quarterback like Roethlisberger, he just didn't trust him. Uh, didn't throw to him, whatever, however you want to classify it. So, fresh start, new offense, good quarterback. Like, it's entirely possible that he like recaptures that talent and like lives up to the draft stock. I mean, that's what you're hoping for. That's the Cowboys love doing this stuff. They love buying low on a guy and hoping that he kind of like delivers on his talent. You can go all the way back to like Rolando McClain, Ragonk, my guy. Ooh, Andrew. I love that thought. Donovan Wilson sort of playing like a linebacker safety hybrid role. Um, I don't know the answer. Again, like you don't see a whole hell of a lot at OTAs anyway. It's mainly install. You know, they're not going to like show you the interesting wrinkles. I like that thought though, because I mean, they find a way to get Donovan Wilson on the field. I mean, they used three safeties last year with Malik Hooker behind KZ and Curse. So you know that they can find a way to get him on the field if they want to. And they're kind of thin at linebacker. Um, yeah, I think you can think of Jaron Curse as a linebacker if you want to. He handles a very similar role. So yeah, like I don't think that's out of the question. What else do we got? What else we got? I don't think you're wrong, Jeff. Yeah, I think they want to try to play bully ball, run the rock. That's why Tyler Smith is here. Um, Kelvin Kelvin Joseph. I have no clue other than what we already know. Like I know people are talking about um my former colleague Mickey Spagnola saying he was cleared. I mean, and I don't want to get too into the weeds, but like I thought we already knew that. Like he talked to the police, two people were arrested. That happened in April and nothing has happened yet. Like the justice system doesn't work like the NFL. At least I don't think so. Like I don't think they're secretly waiting to arrest him 4 months later. I think they kind of got what they needed and moved on. Again, which I don't want to speak way too out of my depth. I've always been under the impression that it was more about the league than anything. Like and the league is the league. They could announce it today. They could announce something the day before the season starts. They could not announce anything. Like I have no idea. So as far as I like, Kelvin Joseph is going to camp and he's gonna compete. You know, I know everybody wants him to take a starting job. I'll believe it when I see it, mainly because I'll just keep banging the drum that Anthony Brown's a better player than a lot of people want to give him credit for. But we'll see. That's what training camp is for. Um, Yeah, well, I mean that's what happens before training camp starts. Like I don't know the answers to any of these questions. The team hasn't done anything in 2 months. Um, 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 um. Jabril Cox. Jabril Cox told me like the week of minicamp. He told me he expects to be ready for camp. I don't. Maybe that's not day one, but like yeah, I expect him to be good to go for practice sooner rather than later. Maybe as early as day one. I guess we'll see. I think it's interesting. You know, so many teams in the league have already like reported to camp, especially ones that just do camp at their facility. It's a little bit different for the Cowboys because reporting to camp is in California. So if you're probably seeing on social that a lot of these guys are already in California, which is interesting. Jason Garrett was much more like it was way more rah rah. Like everybody went to camp together when Jason was the coach, and now I think Mike McCarthy's like, yeah, whatever, just be there by Tuesday. I don't really give a damn how you get there. So a lot of guys are already in California. I say all that to say it's interesting. Like, so many teams have already released their pup designations and their NFI designations. The Cowboys haven't done it yet. I bet we'll hear about it tomorrow or Tuesday, if I had to guess. Um, Starting five on the O line in week 8. Oh, I love that. I love that. I mean, Terrence Steele, Connor McGovern, Tyler Biotish, Zach Martin, Tyler Smith, or maybe you just know because Tyler's going to be a left side player. So Tyler Smith, Connor McGovern, Tyler Biotish, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele. Because by week 8, something will probably have happened to Tyron. If you're making me guess. I'm very excited to see Oso Digizua. I wrote about it for Fox Sports last week. I think like he's got the potential to really be a big deal for this team. I thought he played really well the first half of last season. He kind of fell off. That's to be expected for a rookie. But he was like super productive early on. He had like 8 quarterback hits and 2 sacks like in a month. So I love that. If he can just channel it more consistently, it seems like he's done a ton of work in the offseason. Wouldn't be surprised if he's like a conditioning award winner, that they give out every year. I'm super excited for Osa. Super excited. I'm also excited to hear about Matt Willetsko, Trent. That's again. I think it's weird that they're trusting these young guys to be the tackle depth, but they clearly feel some type of way about it, and I can't wait to see if they're right. Um, Kelvin versus, I mean, Kelvin Joseph can play in the slot, I guess, but like that's not what he was drafted to do. He was drafted to play boundary corner. So like, I don't think of Kelvin Joseph and Jordan Lewis as a battle. If anything, I guess it's conceivably possible if Kelvin Joseph takes Anthony Brown's job, then Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis could battle it out for the slot job because Anthony Brown definitely can play in the slot. At this point, I feel like AB's been playing on the boundary long enough that Jordan might have a leg up on him. But no, I don't think of Kelvin Joseph and Jordan Lewis. They don't do the same job, in my opinion. But that could change. I mean, I'm not saying Kelvin can't play in the slot. He just hasn't really done it traditionally, and I would imagine they want to keep it easy for him and just ask him to do what he's familiar with. What jump do I think Micah takes this year? I think Micah cares way too much about being good at this to like completely fall off. Like I think he's going to be good, but it's hard for me to look at 84 tackles and 13 sacks and be like, oh hell yeah, like he's definitely going to improve on that. I mean, I'm not saying that he can't, but like, how wild is that to just be like, oh yeah, he's going to get 18 sacks? I mean, I that seems even for a franchise player that seems unfair. Like, and for that matter, if he gets better at everything, like let's say he only gets 10 sacks this year, but he just turns into a beast in coverage and he's got like 4 picks to go along with 100 plus tackles or something like that. I don't know. Like, does that mean he had a worse season? I don't think so. So I think I don't want to put Micah in a box of being like, you've got to beat your sack tally or else you didn't have a better season. I don't think that's fair. I don't want to put him in a box and just set some arbitrary goal of how he can be better. But I think he's going to be a better all around football player this year. And I can't wait to see what that looks like. Um, hmm, 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 hmm. Why do I think the Nishan Wright pick doesn't get any more direct criticism? I just mainly because it's so early. Um, he's played 1 year, and he was drafted into a position where there are incumbent starters ahead of him. I mean, I don't think it's fair to expect that a third round pick is going to come in and take a job away from guys that have years of starting experience. But I will be. It'll be interesting to see. So let's just say he doesn't really earn a ton of defensive playing time this year. Now you're talking about a guy that's halfway through his rookie contract and hasn't really. We don't know how good he is, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that sets up a situation. So I think this is the last year of AB's deal, I believe. I can multitask. I can talk while I pull things up. I'll get better at that. Yeah, this is the last year of AB's deal. So, and I believe Jordan has 1 year left on his deal. So, like, I guess you could be heading into a scenario in year 3 where you're asking Kelvin and Nishan Wright to like step up and be starters, and you don't know how good they are. That's kind of scary. But yeah, like as we go along, year 2, like if Nishan Wright doesn't do more year 2, I think you'll start to see more criticism. I just, you know, unless it's a first round pick, I just think I try to be patient and not just call guys bums after 1 year. Okay. Oh, why do I think he's on nobody's radar? So we're talking about Nishan Wright. I got to do a better job at like saying the question that I'm answering because I don't know if y'all are reading the chat like I am. I don't think he's on anybody's radar because him being good isn't going to make or break this team. Like you've got 3 starting cornerbacks who are pretty good. Again, I know like AB and Jordan aren't like pro bowlers, but they're pretty good players. Um and on top of that, you've got a guy in Kelvin who was drafted higher. Like he's a top 50 pick. He's going to get more of the expectation and more of the pressure. So I think it's just the luxury of like, you're not going into this season like where you're like, oh my God, Nishan Wright's he's got to be good or the secondary's screwed. It's just kind of like, the secondary will probably be fine regardless of how good or bad he is. So it's just not a super urgent situation in my opinion. Um, ooh, damn. Thank you, Joe. Hey, it's the summer, man. We try to take some time off during the summer. I, yeah, I disappeared because it's like the 1 month of the year that I can get away with it. But it's football season now. You will be sick of me before too long. Um, yes, LG. I mean, Jeff and I are going to stream from our hotel. Like that's the goal. I don't know 100% what it's going to look like, but like we're going to do like daily breakdowns of what we saw that day. So yeah, stay tuned here. Stay tuned to Jeff's channel, all that good stuff. So Ken, I talked about this. I talked to Jabril Cox like the last week of minicamp. He was one of the last guys I saw before I left my job, before I left the facility for the summer. He told me he's going to be ready for training camp. Now, players players don't always line up with the organization. Like Jabril could be like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go," and the team could still be like, "Yeah, we're gonna ease you in, buddy." So I don't know the exact timeline. I don't know if he's going to be out there in pads on the first day of padded practice, but I would expect you're going to see plenty of him at training camp at some point. That's what I've been told. Mm. Yeah, the kicker thing scares the hell out of me. Maybe Jonathan Garibay. Like who's the kid for the Bengals? McPherson. I mean, he was a rookie and he kicked ass. So like not being experienced. Yeah, Evan McPherson. Now he was a 5th round pick. He was good enough to get drafted. That might make a difference. But like, just because you've never done it doesn't mean you can't do it. I guess. But yeah, I think the 2 kickers on the roster right now have combined for like 5 attempts in the NFL, and all 5 of those are Liram Hajrulahus from like last December with Carolina. He's kicked a ton in the CFL. That's not nothing. That's professional football. He kicked like a 50-yarder in a snowstorm in the Grey Cup. So, I don't know. We'll see. It can't be significantly worse than what we've been watching the last 2 or 3 years, though. Ooh, Harley. Dude, am I going to be streaming on Twitch? If I could figure it out, sure. Is there a difference? I feel like such a lame old douche. I know what Twitch is and I know why it's important, but I don't know how it works. If you think I should, maybe I'll consider it though. Um, hmm. Twitch is better. Okay, I noted. I don't know. I'll I'll think about it, man. I'm like, again, like this type of shit was done for me for years. You know, I was just the talent at DC.com. I just sat down in a chair and other people made it go where it needed to go. So I am I am on my own right now. I like it though. This is it's fun figuring this stuff out, and I really appreciate. Yeah, there's 100 of y'all in here. That's pretty damn cool. Um, what else? What else we got? What else do we got? Okay, all right. Well, we'll figure out the platform stuff. We don't have to. Okay, that's the second person I saw. So John Mechie has leukemia. Is that right? Oh my god, that is awful. That really sucks. That's a massive bummer to hear. Prayers to him. Freaking such a fun player at Alabama. I was super excited to see what he did this year. Yeah, that sucks. Prayers for John Mechie. Bummer, bummer, bummer. Um. Okay. Okay. If Quinn leaves after this year, who steps up? Ooh, that's interesting. Um, I mean, Joe Witt absolutely has the resume of an NFL DC. He's been doing this for a long time. He called the plays when Dan had COVID last year. He called the defense in the preseason, and he was up in the booth taking care of that stuff when Dan was the interim head coach during the Saints game last year when Mike had COVID. So Joe Witt definitely has the resume for it. Joe Witt actually told us last year that DC of the Dallas Cowboys is like one of his dream jobs going, all the way back to when he was a kid. Um, how long has Joe Witt been doing this? I mean, he's been coaching since 2000 in some capacity, and he's been in the NFL since 2007. So 15 years. So he definitely has the resume. No idea if that's what they would do. Like, let's just assume if Mike McCarthy is still the head coach and has to find a new DC, he could promote Joe, or he might look outside because he wants a little more pizzazz. If Mike McCarthy's not the head coach, then figuring out the DC is the worst of our or the least of our problems. So I have heard no smoke about any trade rumors for the Cowboys. No, I trading for DK Metcalf for this team makes no sense to me at all. You just gave Michael Gallup $60 million. They're going to pay CD Lamb. I would be shocked if they don't. I think CD Lamb's a better receiver than DK Metcalf for whatever that's worth. DK doesn't play in the slot, so I guess you could move CD to the slot full time, but I don't love the sound of that. Um, yeah, no, I don't think this team needs DK. Um, Jesse Bates is a great player. I don't know what I don't know what they would give up for a safety. They don't value the position or haven't in recent years. Um, yeah, no, I haven't heard anything about that, and I don't think they really need either player right now. Yes, I would much rather have Debo Samuel than DK Metcalf, but again, with the resources they've already sunk into the position, they just drafted Jalen Tolbert. Um, like they need a receiver to help them now, like for the next month. They need, let's just say Will Fuller because it's a name we all know. They need him to come in and help them until Michael is healthy again. But like this isn't a position that needs like a massive multi-year overhaul in my opinion. Hmm. 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 How many sacks for Parsons week one? Shoot. Tampa's O line is nasty. Tampa's O line is good. I mean, Wirfs, Donovan Smith. They brought back Jensen in the middle. If Micah gets us, and then Brady gets rid of the ball quicker than anybody. If Micah gets a sack week 1, I'll be happy with that. If I yeah, thank you, Matt. If this is stream number 1, I have a feeling it's gonna look Bush League for a while, but yes, if I ever step it up, I'll hit you up. I appreciate that. John Ridgway. Um, Defensive tackle is really interesting to me because it is a young position. You got Neville and Osa are still pretty young players. Chauncey Golston figures to probably be playing more defensive tackle this year. They just drafted Ridgway. I think they've got big plans for Ridgway. So that obviously puts a lot of pressure on Carlos Watkins and Tristan Hill. Tristan Hill specifically. I think that's going to be a situation to monitor. And then I'm interested in Quentin Bohanna too, because Quentin Bohanna and John Ridgway kind of fill the same role, and Ridgway is the newer, younger guy. Like, you're always going to opt for the newer, younger guy. Teams are always more excited about the guy they just drafted. So, is there room for Ridgway and Bohanna on the roster at the same time, or are they kind of redundant? So that's going to be interesting to watch. I don't know. Defensive tackle. I know Neville and Osa are going to be right in the thick of it. And I would assume Ridgway will make the team because rookies almost always make this team. But beyond that, I don't know what to expect. Should be fun. I think Dak is under the most pressure this year, other than the head coach. I wrote about this for Fox last week. You can always say Dak is under the most pressure, right? He's the quarterback. But I think McCarthy and Zeke actually are under more pressure than Dak. McCarthy, for obvious reasons, the speculation about his job is not going to go away. Sean Payton's just sort of hovering in the background. Dan Quinn, he's not in the background, but like that's going to come up at some point. And then Zeke, I think this is such an interesting year for Zeke Elliott. They couldn't cut him right now if they wanted to. They don't want to, but even if they did, it would cost them $30 million. But next year, they could save $5 million off the cap and only take like an $11 million hit if they cut him. Or they could make him a June 1 designation, which they did to Lyle Collins, and they would actually save $11 million against the cap next year if they made Zeke a post June 1 cut. So I'm not saying that they will, but if they decide they want to, they definitely can. So Zeke needs to be great. He needs to have a great year. He needs to stay healthy. He needs to be productive. A lot of pressure on that guy's shoulders this year. Prediction on D line and O line. I'll say 10 just feels like a nice round number on the D line, like 6 and 4, 6 ends and 4 tackles, and 2 of those ends can probably play inside a little bit. And then I would want them to keep 10 O linemen too, because like you need 8 at the bare minimum. But then when you don't have a proven commodity for depth like this team, like you probably like you want to keep both of those. You want to keep 2 young tackles. If I had to guess, like I want 2 starting tackles and 2 swing tackles if I'm the Cowboys. So that's so 5, and then the 2 tackles is 6, 7. You want your swing depth guy, which would be Connor Williams or Connor McGovern. I'm gonna mess that up for months. That's 8. Then you probably want a developmental guy, like maybe one of those undrafted centers, whose names I'm completely blanking on right now. Empey and the Boston College guy. I'm sorry, Boston College guy. I'm totally blanking on your name right now. What is this dude's name? Alec Lindstrom. I'm sorry, man. Yeah. Thank you, chat. Yeah. So I would want 9 or 10 on the offensive line. I lost my train of thought there. The best character in the Lord of the Rings. Oh, hey, Caden. What's up, man? It's Sam. It's obviously Sam. It's always been Sam. He's the real hero of the whole story. Shouts out Tom Bombadil too. I talked about this with Jeff the other day. Would adding Sue make sense for the Cowboys? Absolutely. because he's amazing at a position where they don't really have a proven commodity. He could play 3 and 1. Um, yeah, he would push somebody else out, but so what? My thing with Ndamukong Suh, I said this on Jeff's stream the other day. Ndamukong Suh is just in that category of player who, like, he ain't like looking for work in the sense that like he can call his shot, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like he's a good enough player. He's made all the money he needs to make. He's won all of the accolades he needs to win. He doesn't need to just sign because he needs to sign. Like he can afford to wait for the exact right situation with the exact right team, and that's if he even wants to play. So I think it makes sense for the Cowboys. I just don't know if Ndamukong Suh wants to sign here. He could hold out. He could he could sign with basically anybody, and he could probably wait until like the week before the season starts to do it. So, um, yeah, I think the Cowboys should do it if he's interested, but I don't know if he is. I don't know. Nicholas wants to know what's the future of the draft show. I'm excited. I'm definitely going to cover the NFL draft. I'm definitely going to find a way to be out there. It might be on the draft show. It might be somewhere else. I don't know. I'm excited to figure that out as we go. But I promise you, one way or another, we will have. I will be part of somebody's draft coverage. Um. Yes, Leisha. I'm excited too. This is a new thing. This is my first ever stream, and I plan on doing it way more often. Wow, I've already been on for 45 minutes. That's wild. Yeah, this is fun. So the goal is to do this frequently during training camp. So come find me. I'll have all the news and notes from the day. It'll be fun. Um, Bobby says, "Do I think when they utilize Tony Pollard more that he'll maybe have a similar play style to at receiver like Cole Beasley?" It's nice that you're even giving them the credit that he'll play more receiver. Like, I feel like I'm the only person that remembers Tony Pollard played receiver all the way through OTAs last year because nobody was healthy. Amari wasn't healthy. They were resting CD Lamb. They were resting Michael Gallup. Tony Pollard played a ton of slot receiver, and we all got excited about it, and we were all super sure that he was going to take the league by storm, and it never materialized. Like, I do not trust them to maximize Tony Pollard. They don't deserve that benefit of the doubt. This is his fourth year on the team, and they haven't found a way to do it yet. I hope that changes, but the whole fool me once thing. Yeah. What's the George Bush thing from J. Cole? We can't get fooled again. Can't get fooled again. I won't be. No way. We talked about Kelvin Joseph a little bit earlier. No, I don't. The NFL doesn't care about. No, the NFL does its own thing. They're gonna do what they do. It might be nothing. It might be something. The whole thing is shrouded in secrecy and has no consistency from one player to the other. I know that's frustrating. It's frustrating to have to cover as a reporter, in addition to frustrating for y'all as fans. No idea what the NFL is going to do, but I promise you, Kelvin not like DPD has nothing to do with what the NFL is going to do. If they feel like they need to do something, they'll do it regardless of any sort of legal thing. Derek, well, I'm gonna video everything like I always do at training camp, but we both know John's better than I am. John is better than I am. Like he's better at no, like he's got like a sixth sense for when something's gonna happen. He's showed me his camera roll before. That man that man takes like 500 videos per practice and only posts like 5 of them. Like he's good. John's my guy. John is one of my closest friends in the media industry. He's wonderful, but he's better than I am. I'm man enough to admit that. He's better at filming practice. Um This is wonderful. This is wonderful content right here. Just me reading the chat silently. You guys should just make a draft show on YouTube as a podcast. Maybe we will. I don't know. Like I said, I'm one challenge at a time, right? Like I'm finally about to like jump off into training camp coverage with this new job, so like that's where I'm focused. But yeah, like when it comes time to be worried about the draft, I promise you, you will hear from me. We will figure something out. Where is Jeff sleeping in? Well, I mean, Jeff is my training camp roommate, but this is my house. This is my apartment. Jeff isn't here. We are not real roommates. Although he's definitely Jeff has tried to get me to move into his house before, but I like living alone. I wasn't sure I was gonna like living alone. I moved into my own place like 5 years ago, and I wasn't sure how much I would like it. I love it. Uh, yeah, being alone is amazing. I hate sharing space with people. What player were you completely wrong on, and what player were you completely right on? Like Cowboys specific or anybody? Honestly, a few that come to mind. I mean, nobody's ever going to let me forget that I couldn't have been more wrong about Laquan Treadwell. I thought he was Dez 2.0. Um, yeah, and he was not, obviously. I've been right about a lot of other receivers though. I loved Debo Samuel. I loved DJ Moore. I thought DJ Moore should have been the Cowboys pick at 18 or 19 in 2018. God, that would be fun. If DJ Moore was on this team, that would be fun. Um, Cowboys wise, I mean, I'll just own it. Like I didn't love Taco Charlton as a player, but I was in favor of the pick. I remember saying like, yeah, he might not ever be Miles Garrett. Like he might not ever be a 15 sack kind of guy, but like if he can reliably get between 6 and 10, then that's fine with me. Not only was he not even close to that, but then obviously the guy behind him, TJ Watt, became a 20 sack type of guy. So yeah, that one stings. That one stings. And then I think in retrospect, you have to admit Zeke over Ramsey, just not the right call. Not the right call. Um, who have I been really right about? Who have I been really right about on the Cowboys during my time? Um, Damn, that's a good question. I mean, loved the Michael Gallup pick. I was in favor of that. I'll get back to. Yeah, I would have to really rack my brain. My favorite Broadus quote is the one that they use on the shows all the time. He says, "Here we go. I'm gonna ram it right up your rear." I thought Texas was hot. How can I have a hoodie on? I keep my apartment 68 degrees. I don't mind paying extra for the electricity bill. I hate being hot in my own place. Like the fan in my bedroom is always on, and yeah, I wear a hoodie because I keep it cold as hell in here. Um. Oh yeah, CD is a good answer. I mean, everybody universally loved CD. Oh, Zach Martin. Zach Martin's a good one. I mean, I knew Zach Martin was going to be good. I didn't know he was going to go to the Hall of Fame, but I was way in on that. Um, who's going to be the swing tackle to start camp? That's a wonderful question, and that's why it freaks me out because the answers are probably Matt Let's and Josh Ball with maybe a cameo from Tyler Smith, and that's terrifying. None of them have ever played an NFL snap in the regular season, and we know Tyron Smith is very likely going to miss time. I don't get it. I'm holding out hope. Are y'all old enough to remember when they signed Brian Waters like 5 days before the season started? They flirted with him like throughout camp, and then when camp was finally over, Brian Waters was like 35. He didn't want to go to camp. When camp was finally over, he signed. I'm really hoping that is in play for the Cowboys this year. Not Brian Waters, obviously, but like there are a few capable swing tackles still sitting on the market right now, and I really hope the Cowboys plan on giving one of them a call. Or maybe Matt Willetsko and Josh Ball are just going to light the world on fire. Who knows? That's the fun of training camp. We'll figure it out together. Um, I spoken with Travis Frederick since he retired. Personally, no. Um, but I do know he moved back to Wisconsin. That's obviously where he's from. I think he still comes down here. He still does a ton of charity work. His Blocking Out Hunger Foundation. He's real big on um, like childhood hunger, feeding kids in need, kids who don't have a regular way to get their meals and things like that. He did an event for Blocking Out Hunger here within like the last couple months, and a lot of current players went there, like went to it. He's still really tight with Zach and a lot of the older guys on the team. So I have not spoken to Travis, but he seems to be doing well and is enjoying retirement. First practice, who am I making a beeline to get a really good look at? Honestly, for the first time in my career, the defense. I'll when they like, and not the unpadded crap. The unpadded practices are so boring. And I mean, I'm very privileged that I have a job where I'm allowed to have that opinion, but yeah, the unpadded practices don't do anything for me. But like when we get to the real stuff on like Friday or whenever they actually pad up, I'm going to make a beeline for Micah and Tank and Fowler and all those guys. Like I'm fascinated by the defense. The offense will still be there later. Whatever, they're fine. Um, hmm. How was your experience at LSU? What was your major? I mean, it was amazing. I think I make that pretty obvious just with how over the top obnoxious I am about it. It was amazing. Ironically, I didn't want to go to LSU because I grew up in New Orleans. LSU is not a very good school. And, you just kind of have fatigue of hearing about it. Like, you kind of imagine you want to go further away for college than just 50 miles up the road. But when I was a kid, Louisiana actually had this amazing program where all you had to do was have a 3.0 GPA or score like a 25 on your ACT, and you could go to college for free, which is wild. So yeah, like LSU was like, come here for free. You don't have to pay tuition. And I was like, sold, done, easy. And they call their journal. Every college is different. Like some places call it journalism school, some places call it communications. At LSU, it's called mass communication. I got my degree in mass communication with a focus in print journalism. If you're thinking about doing it as a career, work in student media. Find a way to get on at the newspaper or the TV station or the yearbook or the magazine, or see if any of the local TV stations are looking for interns or part timers. Just find a way to get experience. That's what's important. I didn't learn anything useful in any of my classes. Sorry, LSU. It's true. Learned everything important I know that I use in my career now. I learned at the student newspaper. Shout out Daily Reveille. Um, Rushing total for Zeke this year. I mean, like I was saying earlier, it needs to be 1,000 plus. Otherwise, we're gonna need to have hard conversations about his future. So man, it would be fun if he could get to like 12. Like 1261. I'm buying a Zeke bounce back year. I'm buying a Zeke bounce back year as long as he stays healthy. Um, how does your accredit? How does your accred? Why can't I say that word? Accreditation. I know what you're saying. Credentials. I don't know why I can't say that word. Um, yeah, it's funny again. Like it's funny how much stuff just kind of gets handled for you as a team employee. Because they're basically like, oh yeah, Dave works for us. Dave will be there. Dave's on the credential list. So this year I actually had to like email PR and be like, hey, it's me from a different email address. It's Dave at Fox instead of Dave at Dallas Cowboys. Will you please credential me? and had to fill out the form and everything, and it's all the same. It's just funny that like I had to send emails to people that I've known for 10 years and be like, "Hey, can you add me to your mailing lists and credential me and all that good type of stuff." But yeah, it was a piece of cake. Okay, write that down. 1261. Remind me later when I look either really smart or really stupid. Um, Diggs' expectations this year, good or a good expectation and a bad expectation? Is that what you're asking? I think Trayvon is so interesting because of this whole narrative that he's not actually good, that everybody outside the Cowboys is trying to force on us, which is insane. Like, he's a good football player. He's not the best cornerback in the NFL, but he's on the short list. And if he played for anybody else, this wouldn't even be a debate. Like, all I can think about is a couple years ago, Xavier Howard had 10 picks, and like everybody and their mother would run to tell you. It's like, oh, like if you're not talking about Howard as one of the best corners in the game, you don't know ball. Like, you don't know ball because you don't watch the Dolphins, and he's the best. And he is a good player, don't get me wrong, but Trayvon's on national TV every week, and he plays for a team that everyone hates other than Cowboy fans. And so the rush to like discredit him is hilarious to me. So having said that, I think he's going to get targeted this year. I don't think he's in a place where teams are just not going to try to throw at him. Um, so we'll find out. I bet you teams are going to test him to the point where like he's going to have an opportunity at 6+ picks. I think it's unrealistic to think he's going to flirt with the record again, but like I think if he doesn't get at least like 4 or 5, that would be disappointing for me personally. I disagree with that, Jeffrey. If he has a 14 DeMarco season, 1,800 yards, and however many touchdowns DeMarco scored that year, how many touchdowns did our guy DeMarco score? He scored 13. Yeah, if Zeke goes for 1,813 touchdowns, ain't no way they're cutting him. And I know that he's expensive, but the Cowboys love to run the ball. They love that smash mouth identity. Zeke is one of the faces of their franchise, and he sells a lot of jerseys and is in a lot of commercials and stuff. Like, if he has a season like that, there's no way they'll cut him. I would be shocked. That would be shocking. Um, a good season for CD would be what? Again, like his career high is 79 catches. I need him to at least flirt with 100. Like, he doesn't have to get to 100, but like he needs to like be in the neighborhood. Like 90 catches, 90 catches for like 1,200 yards or more, and 6+ touchdowns sounds wonderful to me. And maybe that's a lot of expectation, but I mean, they did that. The Cowboys did that. They got rid of his help. Hmm. Do we have to give up draft picks to New Orleans if we go after Peyton? I don't think anybody 100% knows what the compensation will look like, but the Saints hold his rights. He can't just do whatever he wants. Like Sean Payton, somebody will have to give something to the Saints to get Sean Payton. And who that is might completely, like, the price might completely depend on who's asking. Like, maybe the Saints are willing to give Sean Payton to you know, who might need a coach next year. Maybe if it's somebody in the AFC, maybe if it's the Colts, just as an example. Uh, maybe they don't care and maybe they don't ask for a lot. But if it's the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys, who have been sniffing around him for a decade, yeah, I would imagine they're gonna have some sort of price they want. Hmm. Is it possible to cover this team without being swallowed whole by the swirling hype that constantly surrounds it? I'm actually working on that. That's my goal for this year is to not buy into any of the hype. And I think it's easier this year than it ever has been because the Cowboys didn't really do anything to change the narrative. You know what I mean? Like if they had gone out, if they had kept everything intact and like, signed some free agent or made some splashy draft pick, like it might be easier to fall for the preseason hype, but like this is this is basically the same group of guys minus two or three important starters. So like, I don't know. There's not a whole lot to feel hyped about in my opinion, which maybe that's what they need. Maybe like, maybe they're best when they can try to sneak up on people. Oh, Broadus is big on Marquise Bell, and I completely understand why. That dude, he's impressive. He looked great during OTAs, which again, there's not a whole lot you can take away from that, but like he looked like he belonged on the field. Um, I completely understand why they gave him as much money as they did. Um, Tyler Coyle is also really interesting. He's not a rookie, but he was here last year. He was on the practice squad. I could see him stepping into that like special teams sort of reserve role. I think it would be impressive if a rookie makes or if an undrafted guy makes this team at corner, just because there's so many of them. Like literally, so I mean, AB, Jordan, and Trayvon are going to make the team. Kelvin and Nashawn Wright. I mean, that's already five. You typically keep like six, and then you got CJ Goodwin, who's not going anywhere. Um, so good luck to any undrafted corners trying to make the team. I do really like Isaac Taylor Stewart, the USC kid. Um, yeah, big rangy guy. He had a pretty impressive spring. I think he had a pick or two, interception or two. But again, like with the practice squad being as big as it is, you could probably find room for the guys like that on your practice squad. Um, oh, I mean, I think between Amari and Lyle Collins, who would you rather they have kept? I think I've made it perfectly clear. Amari. I don't understand their vision for the receiver core right now, especially like with Michael Gallup being hurt. I mean, I know he'll be back eventually, but like it just, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's in a good place to start the season, and I think it puts pressure on CD. I think it puts pressure on Dak. Terrence Steele might not be amazing, but he can do the job. Um, so yeah, I'd rather have Amari. That's just me. Okay, you know what? It's been an hour and 8 minutes. I don't know how that happened. I definitely was only planning on doing this for like 20 minutes, but there's 130 of y'all in here. That's badass. Like I'm so stoked that so many of y'all were interested in hopping on here. So I will be doing this regularly starting this week. So keep your eyes peeled. We can do this whenever we want to, really. So yeah, let's do that. This was fun. I will see y'all in Oxnard, Ventura. Um yeah, I don't know. I'm terrible at signing off. I love y'all and I'll see you soon. Thanks.